Here's why your buyer's agent needs more than a couple of years of experience. Property is a complex beast, and while enthusiasm is a great virtue, it's really a mistake to trust your financial future to somebody who has loads of energy and optimism, but no runs on the board. I know, and I know from experience because I look back and shudder at some of the things that I used to believe and operate on in good faith in my early days in the property industry. Let me give you a few examples. When I first became a buyer's agent, I thought I'd be able to buy everything from crap agents. You know those lazy ones who don't seem to ever get the best prices? I'd run rings around them and I'd be able to claim victory and get great outcomes for my clients and buy the low market value. But you know what? The reality set in, and the reality is that those crap agents, those lazy agents, those dinosaurs, they very rarely have good listings. So if I focused all my attention buying from those people that was easy to buy from, I'd be buying garbage for my clients. And I actually see some property experts doing that and bragging about it. And it's actually not a good thing because their clients, yeah, sure, might get a bargain today, but that bargain might be difficult to sell in the future and actually not do anything for them from a financial point of view. I learnt that one very quickly. When I was a sales agent, I used to believe that a rising tide lifted all ships. I'd even say it to buyers when they're looking at a property that I had to sell that was on a main road. Most buyers would object to the traffic noise, let's face it. In a slow market, it would be really difficult to sell. In a hot market, you'd still find some buyers because let's face it, they get panicky. And I'd say to buyers, look, it doesn't matter if you're buying on a main road. It's in a great suburb. And when you go to sell, sure, you're gonna have to give a bit of a discount, but that's okay because you're getting a discount now. You know, I've since grown a little bit older and wiser, and I've learned the benefits of compound and the damage that compounding can do too if you actually buy a property that underperforms. When I hear of a buyer's agent that's bought a C-grade property for their client, who's probably grateful at the time, I can't help but wonder about how that same client will feel in 10 years' time or so when they go to sell and wonder why their property hasn't gone up in value as much as everything else in the same area. In the early days as a buyer's agent, I thought that a high rental yield was a really good indicator of a good investment property. And in particular, I'm thinking about some of the apartments in big resort style complexes where tenants, yeah, they would pay a bit more rent because of the pool, the gym and all the rest of it. But if high strata levies erode that extra rent, and if they also deter future buyers, then fundamentally you've got yourself a poor growing asset, but you might get a few extra dollars a week rent for it. I used to think that was okay, but then I started applying a bit of critical thinking and looked at evidence and realized it wasn't okay. But I still hear property experts going on about high yielding property. And then there's bidding at auction. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but in the early days, I was a one-trick pony. I always bid hard to scare people off. Sure, that's a tactic that can work sometimes, but there are a lot of other ways to bid at auction. And you really have to pay a lot of attention to what's going on, be really well prepared. There's a whole lot in this. Hey, I could write a book. Hey, I did write a book. But even though I wrote a book on auctions, and I consider myself to be an expert in this area, after over 20 years of experience in this field, I'm still learning every single auction I go to. Like anything important in life, it pays to get good advice. We just don't know what we don't know until we know it, and you don't want rookie buyer's agents learning from their experience with your money. There needs to be more truth, transparency, and trust in the property industry. If you'd like to join the conversation, leave a comment. Tell us about your experience.